Hello everyone, my name is Zachary O'Shea, and this is Box of Teeth. Every October for the last few years, I've shared a monster a day for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and this October is no different. So here is your monster a day for October 25th, 2023. For week 4 of every Monster a Day October, what I do is something called Universal Antagonists. And these are creatures that are inspired by monsters from horror fiction, horror movies, horror comic books. Something iconic that gets a reskin, a different name, and maybe a switch up on its personality and abilities. But it's very easy for players to identify the trope that they're dealing with when it comes to that horror monster, so they can react accordingly. Plus, I think this is a really good exercise to share with all of you of how to take something that you love, take an inspiration from it, and plug it into your campaign. So today, we're going to go ahead and go with the Witch Grinder, which is a clear play on words of Witchfinder. Suffer not the witch to live. This is the motto that the towering hunter clad in a black cloak and wide-brimmed hat lives by. No one is quite sure what bloodline of giants they came from, nor how they came across their strange abilities. All that really matters, though, is the giant's utter hatred of warlocks, who it believes perverts the natural order of things by forging pacts with outsiders. There are many among humanoids that feel the same and rally to the Witch Grinder's cause. Most of them do not realize, however, that the giant grinds his victims' bones to make a special bread that provides him with his mage hunting abilities. You are what you eat, after all. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Witch Grinder statistics for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. They are a CR7 giant who is lawful evil. They do have condition immunity to charm. They know common, giant, and draconic. They do have innate spellcasting all their own of detect magic, thaumaturgy, absorb elements, identify, counterspell, dispel magic, and witch bolt. This plethora of abilities is there to help them hunt warlocks and other magic users much more successfully. They also have something called Mage Killer as an ability, so anytime they succeed against a spell or a magic effect, the next attack they do against the person who cast or used that ability does additional necrotic damage as long as that occurs in the next minute. They do have magic weapons, and they do also have, unsurprisingly, resistance to magic. Their primary weapon is a Wizard Catcher, which is a specialized man catcher that also prevents whoever is grappled in it from casting spells or using magical abilities, and they can also change shape to become a humanoid instead of a large giant, and their equipment does change slightly with them. They have one more piece, which is a reaction called Rack. Whenever they reduce a creature that can cast spells to 0 hit points, they automatically regain a use of their once per day counterspell or dispel magic. It is a reaction, so they cannot overuse it if they're dropping a lot of enemies at once. Now this can be a nice antagonist, especially in human form, that you can use to kind of trick your players into hunting down a warlock, doing things for the sake of good, but actually fueling an evil creature's need to eat the bone meal, as it were, and thus give them additional power to gather more of a cult of personality around them, which is really what the Witch Grinder is all about, besides having an unrelenting hatred for anybody who happens to have a pact in a warlock sort of sense. Likewise, they can be a great foe to throw against your party if they do have a couple of warlocks or other spellcasters in them. They can be rather intimidating when they grow in size suddenly from a normal-sized human to a giant that now is specialized in beating up things that cast spells. I hope that you enjoyed the Witch Grinder. I always like things that are a play on words, which is where this monster first developed in my brain. You can always find them along with every creature I've made for this October, every creature I've made for previous Octobers, and hundreds of other horror-themed creatures, all for free for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition at boxofteeth.blogspot.com. If you're more interested in the non-Dungeons & Dragons role-playing stuff that I have, or the horror fiction that I write, it includes Grease Paint right there. It's got a killer clown. It's a good read for the holiday season, specifically Halloween, but you could like it for Christmas too. That's okay. You can always go to www.zacharyoshea.com. Thank you for your time and your attention, and have a wonderful rest of the day.